Hello, Algebra Scholars. Section 2.3 is called Formulas. And in this section, you're going to be given lots of different formulas. Some of them are from physics and biology. Some of them are just made-up formulas that don't really mean anything. And you're going to be asked to solve for one of the variables. So, for example, b equals 1/3 xy is a formula that I just made up. And x in parentheses here means I want you to solve it for x, meaning you have to get x all by itself on one side of the equal sign and everything else on the other. In the second example, I also made up this formula. I'm asking you to solve it for lowercase a. Let's do the first example first. Because there are fractions here, we're going to get rid of the fractions. We really don't ever want to work with fractions in math if we can avoid it. And we all know the way to get rid of fractions is to multiply both sides, or every term, by the least common denominator, which is 3. So there's one term on the left, b, and when I multiply that by 3, I get 3b. And when I multiply, and there's only one term on the right. Here, let's try that again. The term on the right, even though it looks complicated, is still one term because it doesn't have any addition and subtraction in it. That also is going to get multiplied by 3. And what happens on the right is that the 1/3 and the 3 becomes 3/3, which is just 1, and they just cancel each other out, and you'll notice that the fractions are gone. And now solving for x becomes very easy. The only thing that's in the way is the y, and the y is attached to the x by multiplication, and the way we undo multiplication is by using division. So the y's cancel, and I see that x is equal to 3b over y. In the second example, I'm asked to solve for a. Once again, this problem has fractions, and once again, the least common denominator is 3. Multiplying the left by 3 gives me 3m, and when I multiply the right by 3, let me just squeak up here and do it. I'll write it as 3 over 1. The 3's cancel, and I'm left with 2a minus b. Now I'm trying to get a all by itself, and so I have to start by getting rid of the things that are the farthest away from a. And the thing that's the farthest away is b. And so the way I'm going to get rid of b is I'm going to add b to both sides. So I now have 3m plus b equals 2a, and now solving for a just requires dividing by 2. So I have 3m plus b divided by 2 is equal to a. And here are two more examples. In the first one on this page, we're trying to solve for y. And remember, when we're solving for y, we're trying to get y all by itself on one side of the equal sign. So this 4 is in the way, and this 9x is in the way. And remember, we start by getting rid of the things that are the farthest away. So the first thing we have to get rid of is 9x. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to subtract it from both sides of this equation. So it's gone from the left. So all that's remaining on the left is 4y. And on the right, we have 5 minus 9x. And then to solve for y, we're going to divide both sides by 4. But unlike the previous example where I drew one big fraction bar and divided the whole thing by 4, instead we can divide each term by 4. Either way is mathematically correct, but there's a good reason why I'm going to divide each term by 4. That'll become more relevant when we get to chapter 3. So I get y equals 5/4 minus 9/4 x. In the final example, we see parentheses again, so remember, let's get rid of those first. Z equals 13 plus 2x plus 2y. I'm trying to solve for x, and there's these two extra terms here, so I'm going to subtract 13 from both sides. So I end up with z minus 13 equals 2x plus 2y. I'm still trying to solve for x, so I'm going to subtract 2y from both sides now. So don't be bothered by the fact that you have two terms here, z minus 13, and you're going to take away 2y. So it's just z minus 13 minus 2y. That's okay. and we end up with 2x on the right. Let's go off to the side here. Z minus 13 minus 2y equals 2x. And to solve for x, I need to divide by 2. But like the last example, instead of doing one big fraction bar, I'm going to do 3 little ones. Either way is mathematically correct. So my final answer is z over 2 minus 13 over 2. Notice here the 2's cancel, minus y equals x. So one big fraction bar or a bunch of small fraction bars, either way is okay.